Welcome back to Lifestyle After 5, the Stogie Sesh, the show where we cut light and discuss all things cigars. I'm your host, Victoria, and as usual, we have our in house aficionado, Patrick, with us.
What's up, guys?
So, this weekend we did a little something different. We traded our downtime for dexterity and took a cigar rolling class, Rolling 102,
102,
actually. So, we got the basics down in 101 earlier this year, maybe.
yeah.
But we spent Sunday learning to roll cigars from leaf to wrapper. It was super awesome time. And what we're going to do today is just kind of give you a quick rundown of that. But if you want to see the full immersive POV footage of us rolling skills or rolling our cigars, watch our skills or lack thereof, it was captured by our meta glasses, and you need to subscribe to the Lifestyle After 5 newsletter on Substack. Go and subscribe so you can see that video. Promise you're going to love it. If anything, it's comedic.
yeah.
So let's go ahead and start with the question that I'm sure is on everybody's mind. Is it as easy as it looks?
No, it's really not. It's an art, and art takes time to, you
gotta craft
you
it.
gotta craft it. You gotta, do your own thing with it. But at first, you feel very clumsy because you're dealing with a leaf.
It's delicate.
It's delicate. Yeah, it is pliable, but it's still a leaf. So you got to fold to its will. You got to bend to its will pretty much. So you got to.
And there's certain steps that you start with, like you got to pull out the stem, and that's like a whole thing. And
yeah, there's a lot of steps that go into it, but yes, it isn't as easy as it looks. It's fun. It can be nerve wracking, but once you start getting into it, it's a great way to kind of lose yourself into it and kind of just let it go.
Relax.
But
Relax. But no, it is not as easy as it looks. No. Actually, in the class, there was another female in the class, two females, myself and another one. So, ladies, we're really good at rolling cigars, by the way.
Yes.
Even if you've never done it. But she went and she did her turn, and she was like, "Why do they make that look so easy?"
Yeah.
They've been doing it for years.
17 years, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna let him do the walkthrough because I just kind of, the instructor helped me a lot. But Patrick, can you give us a walkthrough of the building steps of a cigar? I know that there's 3 primary steps.
Yes. So first you gotta get your filler. You gotta put your filler together, and that's gonna consist of 4 leaves, 5 leaves. This is what builds your flavor. So you can have, you're going to have your seco, your volado, and your ligero. Your ligero is going to be the one that's kind of smolder, so it makes it burn longer, where the other 2 are going to be like your one that ignites it and kind of gives it some of that flavor. But more ligero is also stronger. So it also depends, like your filler is going to be different flavors. We had just the seco and ligero for the filler. So that's what we were playing with.
And we did like 2 and 2.
She did 2 and 2, and I did 3 ligero and 1.
Yeah, because that determines its strength, its flavor.
I like my cigars a little stronger, so
I don't.
So yeah. You're gonna put that together depending on what size you're getting. You're gonna need you bunch it, and then once you get your bunch ready, then you're going to go ahead and kind of wrap the bunch. So you're going to wrap that with another leaf.
And that's the binder.
That's the binder. Yes, it is. So the binder is consisted of a full leaf. Same thing. You're going to take out the stem. You lay it side by side. You roll it. So you're going to roll it twice. It's kind of like rolling something, but twice. So you're going to roll it with the binder.
It doesn't have to look pretty for that.
No,
you're just holding everything in.
It's kind of just like sandwiching it together. So,
ladies, it's the Spanx of the cigar.
There you go, the Spanx. So with that, you're gonna roll it. But this is, I don't know if y'all have seen them, but they're called cigar presses. This is where you're gonna put our cigar mold. This is where you're gonna put that. You're gonna put your tobacco into that mold, and you're gonna let it sit. This is what gives it its kind of shape.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, there's different molds, different cigars, different shapes. You build a cigar the way you want. This process usually takes an hour, but you can leave it in the mold as long as you want. You do got to flip it, so make sure it's even on every side. Um, but I know he was saying that some of his stuff he had for 24, 48 hours sitting in the mold.
And it was fine.
And it's perfectly fine. Most of these tobacco, the plant's leaves, they're not going to abide by the same rules that you would for a cigar that's already been rolled.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas, you like your cigars that are already in your humidor between 62 and 69 humidity, you want these are at like 82 to 85, just so it keeps it,
workable. Yeah, because you're still working with it.
It keeps its plasticity, I guess you can kind of say. Elasticity, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So it keeps that, and it's more pliable, but you got to remember wherever you're storing it, as soon as you take it out, you're on the clock, because that it'll dry up. So you want to kind of. So
that's
when they
why
say
you see them moving fast.
Yeah. So when they say like you're on the clock, you're on the clock. You literally have a minute and a half to roll your cigar before it starts to drying out.
I mean, and there's ways around. There's ways around that.
Yes.
You can get a spray bottle, distilled water only.
Yes, distilled water.
Distilled. I know he had a spray bottle just so you can kind of keep
it moist.
Yeah, keep it moist. But and I feel like the mold, it just reminds me of like clay or Play-Doh or something. You stick it in there and it just helps it really keep that shape.
Yeah, it helps it form.
Because without it, then it's essentially just going to fall apart. Because
it doesn't keep it shaped.
It doesn't keep it shaped.
So when it's also in the mold, the humidity or the wetness of it kind of dissipates, so it kind of gets drier. So
it dries it out a little.
It shrinks it a little, so it makes it easier to wrap.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
And that's the last step, is the wrap. We were using some matcha wraps, and again, it's another big leaf, but this time you're only using half of a leaf instead of a full leaf. And you got to have it certain ways. You got to
cut it certain ways.
You got to cut it, to fit your, the length of your cigar. You got to make sure the veins are on the right side. There's a lot that goes into it, but once you wrap it with the wrap, that's pretty much it. We learned how to cap it. So this was the main part of the course, was learning how to cap a cigar.
The first time we didn't do a cap.
No,
we did a pigtail. So you basically just twist the end up and glue it. And there's certain cigar glue, by the way. You're not just using super glue.
Yeah, no one. You can't smoke super glue. Let's not do that.
I mean, we'd advise against it.
Yes, we do. But once it's done, we capped it, and it was ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
There is a difference when you're smoking something that's fresh like that. You are going to get more stronger tobacco flavor. You're going to get. It's just a different experience having a hand rolled in front of you.
It's going to be more earthy, I would think. Maybe.
I think it would be more earthy. I haven't smoked mine yet. So,
I know we gotta smoke ours.
I haven't smoked mine yet, so I can't say that it would be more earthy. But you also got to remember, whenever
it's not gonna be sweet.
Yeah, it's not gonna be sweet. It's gonna be, you're gonna have, it's tobacco. That's what you're smoking, is tobacco. This is what it is. Now that's the cool thing. There's different, binders and fillers that kind of change the flavor of it. But also, when you're having a cigar sit in a humidor, the flavors start to mesh and come out a little more. So you can put a fresh cigar in your humidor, and in a month it'll smoke different. In 2 months it'll be different from that first month, and so on and so forth. So it'll just kind of, the flavors will marry, and it'll kind of just marinate, and it'll only get better over time.
You're basically marinating your cigars in the humidor.
So that's why cigars, they say the older they are, as long as you're taking care of, they do get better. And that's with hand fresh rolled, or ones you get from the store.
So those are like the three primary building steps. Going back to the cap versus the pigtail, personally, I found the cap easier. I don't know why. It's supposed to be harder. What about you? Which one did you?
I like the cap better. It was easier. It was a couple extra steps, but it was easier. It gives it a more finished look. Like, I don't get me wrong, I like pigtails, but I just like the way the cap in. It's nice and
But
neat.
in terms of like actually doing it,
Yeah, because I feel like with the pigtail, it's just you're just doing one motion. With
Mhm.
this, it's other motions, so you got to kind of pay attention. You got to kind of put thought into it. But I do think capping it was easier than the pigtail,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
same here. And I will say, I was one of those people that went in and I'm like, oh, okay, you're gonna roll a cigar, right? You get a leaf and you roll it up. What else is there to it? There is such a technique
Hmm.
when you like you gotta angle it a certain way, and then you're like mostly rolling with one hand and stretching with the
Yep.
other. And again, guys, you gotta subscribe to the newsletter because you're gonna want to see that POV footage
Yeah,
that we got
it's
because
it's an experience.
it really is. It was a lot of fun though.
Yes, definitely
Definitely want to
was.
do that again. Now, in terms of the process, what was the hardest part of the process for you?
So the hardest part was probably making, wrapping the binder and
Mhm.
the filler and putting that all together. Only because you're under such a time crunch.
Mhm.
Whereas with wrapping it in the wrap, it's not such a big time crunch because it's already
Kind of
prepared.
take your time.
Yeah, it's already prepared. So this is like the finesse,
Mhm.
wrapping it. But I think just building it, putting in the short fillers, the long fillers, just putting in all those fillers. That's kind of the harder part because you also got to make it right. So
Yeah, yeah.
if you don't have enough filler, your cigar is going to be
Really
super loose and
flimsy.
it's going to draw really funny. Or
Might
if
even
you
fall apart.
yeah, or you might have too much tobacco and
Mhm.
it's just you're not going to be able to get a draw off it. So
Mm-mm.
it just really depends. Like I think that's the most important process, but it's also the hardest process.
Yeah, for me it was definitely the filler. Just because you're rolling the filler leaves, right? But you're holding it and then you get one and you're rolling it. So you're having to still use the hand that you have the
Mm-hmm.
rolled fillers in and your free hand, but then you're bunching it together at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. So you really got to have some dexterity to do
Yeah,
that. And then
definitely.
like you said, you want to be sure that you're bunching it in a way that, you know, it's even.
Yeah.
So you don't have like all the same leaves on the top and all the same leaves on
Yeah.
the bottom. You want it
That's
mixed.
that's a hard part too.
Yeah, because and especially when you're like in it, like you get in the zone and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not until after the fact that you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I put it all together on the wrong side. So, what was, if there was, the easiest part of the process for you?
Smoking it. No, I'm just smoking it.
I think that's the easiest part for
Uh,
everybody.
I still think the wrapping.
Hmm.
I like the wrap because it's something I can pay more attention to and focus on, and this is a finished product, so it's something I would be proud of.
Hmm.
Um, that's what I thought the easiest part because it's me right there. That's me. I know the tobacco inside's me too, but this is going to be me on a whole cigar. So
Yeah.
I just feel like that
I
was the
think it's the
easiest part.
precision.
Yes.
Yeah, because you really got to take your time. That's my favorite part as well too. And I think mostly because, and our instructor said this too, women, we just have smaller hands in
Yeah.
general. So when you're wrapping, I feel like it was easier for me to, like extend the leaf and roll at the same time because, smaller hands, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I liked it because it was probably more challenging for me. So I enjoyed it more. But, now, what would you say about smoking cigars, collecting, and just overall the lifestyle in general? What would you say drew you in to that as a whole?
Hmm. I mean, it would have to be like. I mean, first it was just smoking cigars because it
Mhm.
was a cool thing to do. But getting into the lifestyle, it's the community. It's
Mhm.
it's the whole community where a lot of the people, a lot of the if you ever get a chance to meet any of like the owners and the people who run things behind the scenes, they're actually all for, especially your boutique brands. Please, I know that there's big names around brands out there, but give boutique brands a chance because they really do
Yeah.
have some
Don't
great.
sleep on them.
Yeah, they really do have some great blends, but they're all about pushing people to be their best,
Mhm.
and like they want to help elevate people, and that's so cool about it. It's like everybody helps everybody, and that's why I do these things. Is I like helping people. If you know me, you want to try a cigar out. I'll give you a cigar to try out. So you know what, like let's smoke one together, and you kind of tell me how it is. And I think that's how it is. It's just the community all around. It's a community. It's a good community. There's very few people who are in it for the wrong reasons,
Yeah.
but um, yeah, it's just the people. The lifestyle is cool because they're cool smoking a cigar and having a drink. But I get to meet cool people too.
True.
In some of the previous videos, especially with being at the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival, I met a couple of the owners like Van Houten, the owner of West Tampa. A bunch of the reps, were there that you've seen them. Izzy from Drew Estate.
Love Izzy.
There's just so many that you get to meet, and they're all great people, and we all come together for the same thing, and that's enjoy cigars.
Yeah, that's very
and just
true.
have a good time, and no need to like, I guess, have ill intent towards each other, because I mean we're
Like
like
there's
I
no
said,
it's not a competition
Yeah.
of any sorts whatsoever. Like you said, it's a community.
yes.
At what do you recall? I guess what I don't know what event, what lounge, or whatever it was. What what was it that you were like, okay, I enjoyed this specific thing that I now feel this is more than just a small hobby.
I think it was just going into like Cigar International, like after we met our friend, and we kind of went up to Cigar International. I was like, this thing's a lot bigger than I expected, because we never really had anything
Yeah, not like that.
bigger than Finks is small, Club Humidor is small. There's only a couple stores, but this thing was huge, and it had a bar.
And
So I think
patio
yeah.
and yeah,
Just going in there and the vibe, it's like, okay, if this is something on a bigger scale, then it must be so much better on different size scales. Like, not saying that bigger is always better, but smaller, more intimate, just depending on what you want. But I felt like that's what got me into just going in there, feeling the vibe, seeing all the cigars, kind of like trying out everything. And that just got me into it. It's like, you know what, I want to try different flavors out. I want to be that one who can be like, ooh, this tastes like chocolate, or ooh, I can get the orange peel off this, whatever the case. I wanted to be like that. So I'm not saying I'm a snob, but it's definitely an experience, and that's what I liked. Is just going in there. I felt the just the warm heartedness of the people. They were really
very
accepting.
welcoming. Yeah, very welcoming. I think also with like a lounge like Cigar International, because it is on a larger scale, they tend to have events with like local cigar clubs, and we've mentioned Stogies and Kicks. They have ladies' night, just things like that. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't realize like how involved people get with the lifestyle. And again, you don't necessarily have to be a smoker to go to the events, or to even go to the lounge, which we've talked about previously as well. So back to the cigar rolling.
Okay.
After taking not one, but two classes, do you have a newfound respect for the traditional cigar rollers and overall the craft of it?
Oh yeah, like from the first class, you learn like, wow, this is tedious, and it can be, it's a lot of work, and they say that you got to be willing. Some people have to roll 150 cigars for a day, and that's not including the stuff they have to prep for tomorrow. So it's a craft, it's a science. But, there's different ways, like traditional hand rolling, that's going to take a lot longer, but there's also machine that does it all in one swoop, and that's perfectly fine. A lot of new age ones are machine made. But yes, definitely respect. There's a different, I guess you get a different, I don't know, I feel like I would get a different profile just knowing how much blood, sweat, and tears go into it. Just having that hand fresh rolled cigar in front of you. And there's a lot of people that do it. You go to weddings, they have them. Even at cigar events, they have them. Some lounges will have them. It just really depends. But yes, definitely a newfound respect. Like, it's a craft, and it's something I kind of want to, get more into. I want to, get better at it, and kind of you know, try different blends out. You know, there's leaves all around the world that you can, you know, mix in that gives it different flavor profiles instead of the, you know, the ones that we were using. So that'll be fun.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, definitely newfound respect. I love how when you see them though, like they go so quick.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's why it makes it look easy because they've already
Yeah.
perfected their craft, and like Patrick was saying, they have a quota,
Yeah.
and even when you're at an event, I know our instructor had mentioned like you're there for X amount of hours, but within those hours, like you have to churn out what 50 cigars
Yeah.
or 50 cigars in an hour or something like that. It took me an hour to do one.
Mm-hmm.
Like and so just to see them do it super quickly and just handing them out, I'm like, okay, damn, like I don't know if I could ever be on that level, but um we kind of already touched on this. uh so this would be something that you would want to continue to do, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Why?
I mean, just because it's a cool hobby. No, but I mean, like I said, it's something fun and interesting. It's something I can put together and give to my friends and be like, hey, this is actually made by me. You know, like try it out. Tell me what you think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not going to be a master roller. I don't ever expect to be a master roller, but I do think I would get good enough to where I could roll, 40 cigars in a couple hours. Not saying I want to go mass sell them, but I think it'd be pretty cool to, have my own little thing going and, be able to smoke and kind of promote my own thing.
Yeah.
And even going forward, like whatever I decide to do, I can take that with me,
Mm-hmm.
Be at weddings, or be at just, here at home, have people over, barbecue. I'm gonna bust out my cigar. Who wants a cigar? I'm gonna make you a fresh cigar. It's just stuff like that. I would love to continue it. I do think it would get easier, but just going forward, I would like to try different like blends on my own. Just
Experiment a little.
yeah, I would experiment. Just try to go out there because that's what cigars do right now. Like the big companies, they have tons and tons of different variations of leaves from all over the world, and we've only touched on a very, very, very small amount of it.
Yeah.
And I think that would be cool just to try different ones.
I agree. So let's go ahead and end it with this question. It's kind of a large question, but I feel it's like the ultimate question. Why do you think that this hobby turns into not only a lifestyle, but often a career? Like we see people opening lounges, they become tobacconists. I hope I said that right. Or even, travel to the fields and look at, the tobacco. Like, why do you think people get so invested into this?
So in my opinion, I think like most people do it because they do like, they just like the lifestyle. They like, kind of the finesse behind it. And it's not just, this isn't just like a one thing answer. There's so many parts to it. So whenever, somebody decides to become a tobacconist, that's different than your person who's going to be, your collector or, who's just in it for the lifestyle.
Mhm.
But, these are very different parts. But once your hobby turns into a lifestyle, that means, like, hey, I like this a lot. Maybe I want to get into it more. That's where the lifestyle comes into. Now, hey, I enjoy this so much. I'm already good at, handing out cigars and selling things. And, I'm a friendly person. And that's where, hey, you know what? I'm going to open up a lounge. I think I have what it takes. Now, there's the tobacconist, like, hey, I've smoked so much. I'm going to start doing my own thing so I can create my own flavors and share that with people.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just really one flavor doesn't, it's not one flavor. So there's so many things that go into it. But I do believe like community is the biggest thing that most people get into, because not only do a lot of people say like want to see you succeed, but they'll help you get there.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who you can reach out to, ask questions, like our cigar, like our cigar friend, the roller. He's like, hey, if you need anything, just hit him up. All it takes is practice. That's all it's gonna take. It's just practice. So you practice, practice makes perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, there's also when we met Izzy at
Oh, yeah.
the cigar festival out in Houston. She's like, hey, if you ever need anything, just ask me. Like, this is what people do. They get into it, and it's not just about them.
No.
It's about the people. They want to see people succeed. They want to be there and see people on top. That's how it is. Yes, there's going to be companies who are always going to be on top, big brands, whatever, but they're also, like, hey, you know what? I want to see people go places
Mm-hmm.
too. So
Yeah, they're also supportive. I think it goes back to, I don't feel like that there's much competition, for a lack of better words, within not only the lifestyle but within the industry itself. Like you were saying, it's like everybody wants to see everyone else succeed.
yes,
It's not, there's no hate. There's no hate behind it. And if there is, it's that one off. We always have that one off.
yes,
But
definitely just one off.
I think like getting into the lifestyle, obviously we're doing a lot more.
Yes,
Never done a podcast before.
never.
I'm writing articles for the newsletter about cigars. It's not something that I thought that we were going to get so heavily involved in, but we have, because we enjoy it so much, and we enjoy it as a couple.
Yes,
And yeah, I mean, for us, it is going in a direction where it may possibly become a career, maybe the retirement career, because, money.
Yeah.
But, and then we both like different aspects of it too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little more behind the scenes, but also I like to be talking to people and stuff. So I don't know. But I know that you would be the one that's like making the cigars, and he knows the flavors, and I'm like, you want a sweet cigar? Because that's all I know. That's what I got, But yeah, and then even at the cigar rolling class, I thought, and that's why I thought of this question, is because I think there was like 3 or 4 people there that were like, oh, I'm going to open a mobile lounge. Oh, I'm going to open a brick and mortar. Or, like I want to do the cigar rolling as a side hustle, because you can do weddings and events and things like that. And I was like, man, I didn't realize how many people like really want to get into this as a business, and also didn't realize how much red tape there is to open up a cigar lounge.
It's a lot.
That might be a whole other episode, just for informational purposes. But to me, I was just like, wow, okay, like I didn't. Now it's almost like everyone I meet, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna open up a lounge, or I'm like, oh dang, okay. So I think it's cool. I think it's cool if you find something that you really enjoy doing and you love, and it's like, hey, let's roll with it and make it a career and see where it goes.
Yeah, definitely.
So, absolutely. Was there anything else you want to add about your cigar rolling experience or your cigar lifestyle in general?
Cigar rolling experience. There was a lot of people there, and a lot of people want to do it, but when they actually start doing it, they decide not to, and they'll just leave it to the professionals who do it.
And so that's fine.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. But if that's something you want to get into, just stick with it. Like that's all I can say is stick with it. Practice makes perfect. But I mean, it's a great experience if you ever have a chance to do it, either here or even going out of out of the country, because I know that a lot of them. You go to Dominican Republic,
DR is really big on that. I think the DR is the one that has that really huge cigar festival. Yeah. What is it, like a week long or something?
It's a week long, yeah.
It's like a week long, and they take you to the fields and the factory, and where I don't know what it's called, but I saw where they hang the leaves and stuff.
Ferment them.
Yeah, whatever. It looked cool. And then they, show you how to roll the cigars. So, just really cool stuff. Yeah. Really, really cool stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's all we have today. And we'll be back next week with more info, as usual, with our in-house aficionado, Patrick. So that's going to be our show for today. Thanks again, Patrick, for giving us all the down low on the cigar rolling, because I'm of no help when it comes to that. But remember, the best cigar is the one you enjoy with good company. Until next time, keep your humidors full and your ashes long. Bye, guys.
See you later.